damn, I was like minding my own business and we're here chatting, the three of us, right? And then my boyfriend, Patchy, he walks up to like the door and I hear him just kind of like tapping at the door and I'm like, what the fuck does he want? He keeps doing it. So I'm like, ugh. Like I begrudgingly get up because, I'm comfy right now. And then all of a sudden, I open the door, he got his cheeks out and he's like, hi, I'm Dr. Cheeks. I'm doing my rounds and I'm a little behind.
Such stupid pun.
Well, don't you know what?
Help but laugh at it.
Yeah, but do you know what the reference is from?
No, I don't. But it sounds funny still.
No, it's from The Simpsons.
Oh.
Yeah, Bart does it. I forgot what episode, but like I guess for some reason he was like at the doctor's office or whatever. And he's like, I'm just doing my rounds, and I'm like, yeah, it's fucking shitty, but I mean it's funny, but I like it.
It's funny even without knowing the reference, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. It just, startled me. He's just, I just see his butt at the door.
At least he didn't fart at you. Or shit at you.
Or shit at me. No skid marks, please.
Luckily, he already dumped it before he did that.
Yeah, thank goodness. But anyways, enough embarrassing my poor boyfriend. Welcome to the show. This is In Medias Res Talk Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Cass.
And I'm Kay.
And we got here DJ KILROOOOY. He's finally come back from the grave.
What's up?
It sucks that you weren't here, but also, like, just watch Spider-Man, dude.
No, you mean Venom.
Yeah, you should watch Venom. Actually watch Venom. Venom is fun. You should just experience it. Experience the schlock, It was still fun. I liked it.
Anyway.
Don't you anyway me. But I still liked it. But today, we're not here to talk about Marvel. We're not here to talk about any of that bullshit. Today, we're here to really deep dive. Not actually deep dive, because I'm smooth brain. Let's just talk about the good stuff. But we're deep diving into the Netflix anime scene, and this isn't like original, really, Netflix animations, like not like Dota. I guess technically it's not really original. Not like Castlevania, not that type of stuff. It's gonna be more like actual like anime, Japanese animation, licensed and or possibly produced by Netflix. We don't really know because it was kind of vague, the description of it, because Netflix will license these shows and specifically stream them on their platform, and it's not put back on TV or anything like that. It's just you can only find it on Netflix. So we're gonna kind of talk about that and how just kind of the production value and what they choose and just kind of the animation itself and kind of go from there. I mean, we chose a few that we wanted to talk about today. We have Way of the House Husband, Records of Ragnarok, which is oof.
I know we couldn't even finish that.
I did not want to finish the first episode, but we ended up watching 4, which, that is resilience.
Yeah, because we were thinking that the 4th episode they'd actually finish the first 5. But,
yeah, but we'll talk about that in a sec. And then, Komi Can't Communicate, Little Witch Academia, obviously, because that one was actually produced by Netflix, well, with Trigger as well. We're going to talk about Dorohedoro, a personal favorite of mine, and a little bit of Stone Ocean. But I say, we're kind of going down a list of it. So, Way of the House Husband. What were y'all initial thoughts? Because we only watched like 3 episodes of almost like each anime, except for Komi. Little Witch Academia.
We only watched one.
Yeah, we only watched one because I already knew like the plot of the manga, and it didn't really interest us to keep going. Little Witch Academia, we've all seen like all the episodes, and Dorohedoro we actually sat down and watched that same day. But other than that, we watched 3 episodes of Way of the House Husband. And so what were y'all like initial thoughts on it?
It was a PowerPoint anime. So, now there are some decent PowerPoint anime like the Monogatari series because they actually put effort into the drawings even though like it's a PowerPoint slide. But Way of the House Husband did not have that kind of effort in the drawings with the stills. Sometimes they'd actually draw someone actually running or walking. Sometimes they just tween them while they're still in the same pose and just have them move like that.
Yeah, it definitely looked like they kind of like traced over the manga because like this is just literally a carbon copy of the manga itself. There is no like originality really in certain scenes or anything like that. So when you look at it, because it literally is just the PowerPoint slide, they just kind of, it reminds me a little bit of like Flash animation a bit.
Yeah, it does.
And so, you know, they slide in and stuff, but the lines looked traced. So, like, they looked traced. There was no defining features. Usually, like, when you draw, like, you know, there's weight to it, where it's, like, kind of thin, and then, like, it thickens out, like, depending on, like, the drawing or the movement. Like, you know, there's a lot of deciding factors of that. And this anime, especially, like, from the manga, the manga heavily relies on the poses, the shading techniques, especially like the cross-hatching, hatching in general, and the toners that they use in there. But for some reason, they just decided to go with a little bit more of a standard cell shading, and it didn't make sense to me personally, because it's like, if you're just gonna do like basic like slide like PowerPoint animation, you might as well put in a little bit more effort on the lines.
Yeah. Because part of the whole impact in the manga is pretty much on the shading, and it gives like that comedic effect as well, just because how serious it makes Tatsuya look.
Yeah, exactly. So it's super heavily reliant on it. And you don't really get that impact from the anime. The pacing was pretty fast, too. And it just felt like they were really just trying to get the joke out there.
I was perfectly fine with that.
I wasn't a big fan of it because, like, I was like, wow, they're going through the manga, like, really quickly. Like, I felt like they went through, like, 5 chapters in, like, 15 minutes.
I think they actually did do that, though.
I think so, actually. Which is quite a lot, because they only have, like, 80 chapters. So, like, by the time they get to, like, like the 8th episode or something? Or, like, maybe, like, 10 episodes, they probably are done with the whole manga or caught up to it.
Yeah. But it's not like that, well, from what I've been reading of it, it's not like there's a huge overarching plot or anything. It's just a little comedy here and there. Yeah. Shenanigans, whatnot.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I really want to know more about the backstory. Actually.
Of how Tatsuya met his wife.
Yeah, I want to know a little bit more. Because, like, it's so nice that he, you know, wants his wife to still chase her dreams. And while he's a house husband. Yeah, and I want to know more about that, like why they decided to be together type. I don't know. That's just me, like, wanting my romance. It doesn't really matter. Because that's not... Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It's not the point of the show. As the point is that, wow, this former Yakuza is a house husband. How funny.
Yeah, pretty much. Now laugh.
Yeah. There's no budget. like, clearly not really too much of a budget, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they still have to have money to be able to make the animation. But
I mean, it feels like all the budget went into the voice work.
yeah, like, they really paid their voice actors super well, because all the characters, their voices fit them perfectly, I think.
Yeah. They didn't really cheap out when it comes to, like, the voice actors, that's for sure. They mostly went with, like, a bunch of veterans that have been doing this for 10 plus years or more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they didn't pick up some newbie thinking like, okay, let's just have them do this because get this over with and things like that. It's like they spent all the money on like the voice delivery and that's it.
Yeah, and it's still pretty important, like, when you're doing, like, a visual medium, like, the sound work. I know that doesn't make sense because it's a visual medium, but, like, the sound really does matter because it gives more of that oomph to the impact of the joke.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird that they put all that input or effort into the voice work, because then at that point, why not just make a vomit, which is literally just you going panel to panel of a manga while having it voiceover work on it.
Yeah, that honestly could have worked out better, to be honest. Like,
because I know like several manga, like when they first start out, they might start out with like a vomit before like they actually get an anime itself, which they probably should just stuck with the vomit in this case.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, overall, like, though there was like a lot of laziness to it, and you know what, maybe it's not laziness, maybe, you know, they probably put a lot of heart and soul into it, but I mean, it could have been better. It really could have been, but it's still an okay show, you know, it's still enjoyable, but that's also because of the fact that it's literally just a carbon copy of the manga, just minus the shadows.
Yeah, and it's being carried by the voice work as well.
And carried by the voice work, yes, the delivery of the voice
it's
work.
being carried so heavily on that.
Yeah. Kilroooooooy, what do you think?
I was fine with it. Like, it's clearly a low budget thing. I think they allocated their budget to the probably best places they could. Like, I saw this getting a lot of shit when it was when it first came out, and I didn't read the manga, so I didn't really care, but I was like, okay, I guess I won't give this a try. But then we watched it. And
I do remember everybody giving it a lot of shit when they first saw the PV, because it looked like a literal PowerPoint even there. And that's usually the point that you're trying to promote it and like say, wow, I really want to watch this. And then you see that.
Yeah, but when I watched it, I was like, I was pleasantly surprised, I guess. It worked
I'll say the same as well. I was actually pleasantly surprised on like, it was still enjoyable with just the voice work delivery in there.
Yeah, I thought the fast pace actually worked pretty well with it, actually, because I think maybe your problem, Cass, is like, since you started with the manga, you might have like your own preconceived idea of what the pacing should be based on how you read it. And since I have no experience reading it, I'm just fine with whatever they gave me.
Yeah, there is that. And I think that's why there was a lot of people very, like, disappointed in that fact. I mean, me as a person that has read the manga and really liked the manga, I was kind of disappointed in the delivery of it. And especially with the fact that the manga did so well that they came up with a live action first to go, like, more with a broader audience, and then, like, then made the anime. Like, I was definitely expecting something more. Because, like, even the live action was still pretty well done. Even though, like, obviously a lot of things don't translate from manga to live action.
Yeah, like the shading.
Yeah, or especially, like, with a good example, Cowboy Bebop doesn't translate very well. But I don't ever want to think about that ever again. But it's, you know, I was disappointed, but overall, now that I actually sat down and watched it, I'm just like, okay, I can live with it. And I think, like, the reason why, like, I was a little overwhelmed with the pacing, I say overwhelmed because it was kind of fast-paced. It's because I felt like, especially me as a reader, like, I take my time kind of looking at the pages and stuff. And the joke really does heavily rely on that face that, like, Tatsu makes.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't stick there just long enough. And it just needs, like, that couple seconds more.
Probably because they don't want people to focus on their drawings.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what really upsets me, because it's like, I really just want it to just stay there for, like, a couple more seconds, because then the joke really just, like, hits. But it just went, like, you know, they just ran with it. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I could deal with this, I suppose. I mean, like I said, overall, it's still a good show.
Yeah, I was still pleasantly surprised. It's still disappointing, like, in the fact that this is, like, it's one shot of an animated adaptation. It's kind of, like, misses half of what makes it great. But the voice work kind of pretty much carries it over enough to that. It's a decent watch enough for me.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty charming as someone who never read the original manga.
Well, what would y'all rate this from, like, a 0 to 10?
I'm a pretty harsh person.
Okay, what would you rate it?
Probably 5 or 4.
I'd probably do 7.
I'd probably do a good 6. And the reason why is just because, obviously, the animation, but also, like, it's still good. It's just a carbon copy of the manga. The manga is really good. So, can't say I'm not too disappointed. I expected better, but I'm also not that let down.
I was expecting better from the PV because, like, I was still pinning my hopes up. Maybe this isn't the final word. Maybe things will get better. Well, but that wasn't the case.
Well, maybe we have to wait until they come out with the Blu-ray and all of a sudden there's, like, actual walking animation and, you know.
No more tweening.
Yeah. You know, that's what they do.
That'll happen. I doubt that'll happen in this case.
They animated a walk cycle once.
Oh, yeah, that's actually right. They did animate that one walk cycle. But
alright, well, that'll bump them up to a 6 then.
Yeah. Well, let's
That aside, let's move on to something that I hated watching to the point that I will never recommend this.
This is a 0 for me. An absolute 0. Literally a 0. It was like nails on a chalkboard, so unpleasant to watch. And Records of Ragnarok.
I give it a 2 just for Aphrodite's titties.
Okay, I'll bump it up to a 1. I'll bump it up to a 1.
What? A point for each one of those?
Yes, 2. A 2. Well, yeah, because literally that was the only thing that made me laugh, that made me feel any emotion other than, like, pure disgust.
Yeah, booba.
Yeah, her fucking titties just, like, flying into her face.
She has, like, those statues just carrying them.
Yeah, the statue's carrying her fat tits, and she's like, I'm Aphrodite.
What a great character. Anyway.
Well, it's very poor pacing.
Besides Aphrodite, there's a lot more glaring problems there.
Yeah, very poor pacing. First off, already, like, we ended up watching 4 episodes, and the reason why, because usually we do the rule of 3, right?
Yeah,
well,
3-episode rule.
Mm-hmm. And so we decided to do the 4 episodes because we were hoping that, like, okay, maybe the 4th episode. So a little bit of a recap, essentially. What happens is that I don't think we explained the plot of Way of the House Husband. Oh, well, that doesn't matter. But a little bit of a summary of the plot of Records of Ragnarok. So essentially, obviously, if y'all know anything about Ragnarok, I'm assuming some people do because they've seen Thor, right? Ragnarok is just essentially like the end of the world type deal where it's humanity fighting against gods. And that's essentially the plot of it. It's like a tournament style type where it's going to be like 13 battles. And the first battle is with Lu Bu, a real life general from
China.
From China, yes. Which dynasty? Like, it was Han, yeah. And so he's very well known general, like, ruthless motherfucker, you know, like.
Yeah. Everybody really likes to go on about the Three Kingdoms era just because of the romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bunch of games just built on that.
Bunch of games, like movies, TV shows,
manga series, anime series.
Or
there's just like a lot that just like really loves that era.
Yeah, and even like I hate mentioning this, but in Prison School, you remember how that one character is just like obsessed with the Three Kingdoms? Like, it's exactly like that. Like, it's just so prevalent in Japanese culture too, just like becoming obsessed with it. It's just randomly there, like, it's almost like a personality type for people.
Yeah, like how people are obsessed with like certain series like Harry Potter.
Or like those
Game of Thrones or Marvel.
Or like those weirdos like obsessed with like World War II.
Oh yeah.
That's like a pretty good example of that. But anyways, yeah, so it's Lu Bu and Thor fighting against each other.
Yes.
And
for a very long time.
Yes, we were hoping that the first fight would be over by the 4th episode because we thought it would be over by the 3rd, but it goes by like almost like Dragon Ball Z tournament pacing where the one fight lasts for like 10 episodes because it's like, you know, almost like Piccolo like trying to harness his power. He's like trying to do his special beam cannon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. But not good.
Taking a long time to charge. Or like Goku is charging up for his Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, he's like, give me your strength! And
then you have a whole episode just built on people just giving him his strength.
Like 3-4 episodes of it.
Yeah. Unfortunate. I think the one thing that really made me laugh was, I think it was either the 3rd or 4th episode, and it's like, they only did like 2 attacks at each other, and like there's one audience commentator that's just like, I can't keep up with his action. I hate it. It was like, they've only swung at each other like once or twice. What action?
Yeah, like, and so, okay, so the tournament is started because a character named Brunhild, she was originally a Valkyrie. She was originally a god, but became a demigod. And she decided to start this battle out of, like, a grudge, like, vengeance against, like, the gods that have demoted her into a demigod. And so she's doing this just for selfish reasons, not really, like, to save humanity. She doesn't really care. At least that's what I came across, because since I watched this anime, I'm like, I don't want to read the manga. This ruined it for me. I'm pretty sure the manga's probably better, but, you know, whatever. So, it's just awkward pacing. Lu Bu, literally, what you said, Kay, was that, like, they just hit each other, like, twice. And then now he's going in for the 3rd hit in the 4th episode, and I was like, you know what?
I don't want to watch this anymore.
I don't want to do this anymore. And then they do the recap too. They recap each episode, so it extends the time. It extends the time more because they're like, well, there's only like 13 fights, and the manga's only like 8 fights in or something. So like we can't rush the first season. So that's probably
this was an awful thing.
That's probably why they recap it and then they do backstory. And I'm like, I literally don't give a fuck about any of these characters.
Like the backstory was in the manga, but like doing the recap, they were literally wasting like an extra minute each episode just to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not like you even need it because like it's a Netflix film. It's not doing a TV release, so you can just like binge it all in one go. Why do you need a recap?
Yeah, exactly. And the adaptation really didn't take any type of creative liberties at all.
Yeah, usually like at least when it comes to like shonen anime, when it comes to like their fight scenes, they don't typically go like panel to panel like what the fight scenes there are. They usually take some creative liberties when it comes to like their fight scenes, like doing their own choreography. Like I think the best example would probably be Naruto in that case. Some of those fight scenes theirs are pretty good to watch.
Yeah, but it's not until like later on in the anime that it becomes good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also One Punch Man too.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, first season One Punch Man.
Yeah, first season One Punch Man. Like they do take their own creative liberties when it comes to like actually doing some of the fight scenes.
Yeah, and
that's kind of what makes anime stand out with the manga, because like, sure you're adapting the story, but you can still do your own thing as well.
Yeah, or you could be doing it poorly, like Records of Ragnarok, or doing it poorly, like Bleach.
No, Bleach was perfect.
No, it wasn't. All I can just think of is how...
You are #1, like that song in there.
No, I'm more thinking...
That's coming back soon.
I'm more thinking of just, like, whenever I would watch it on Toonami, and Ichigo is, like, jumps from one platform to another, and he goes, ugh! And just, like, hits him once, and then all of a sudden, like, internal monologue for, like, the whole, like, rest of the episode.
That's how smart Kubo is.
He couldn't even draw backgrounds.
But he can draw some really good people.
You mean he just draws really good titties? That's what you're thinking of.
No. I actually do like his character designs.
Yeah, I do like his character designs too.
Male and female, both are really good.
Yeah, they are really good. I do like that. He really did put all his effort into his character designs and not his backgrounds. And he could have had, assistants do it.
That.
But, that's a whole different story.
That's a whole different.
Yeah, but Records of Ragnarok, bad, don't watch. It's not worth it.
Oh yeah, I think the one that also brings back to another thing that was weird about it. Very character designs. Like you see Brunhild, and then you see her her I guess sister or little sister, and it's like they look like they're in completely different shows.
So vastly different from each other. Like especially if you do Brunhild against like who was the old man? He didn't. The old man that was like suddenly like having a hard on. Zeus, yeah.
I think it was Zeus.
That was supposed to be Zeus.
I think
so. Let me double check. Yeah, that was Zeus.
Yeah, and he like starts getting a hard on. He looks like he's from a completely different anime. They all look like they're from a completely different anime from each other.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And so it's just jarring to see that, because at least in the manga, it actually they look like they would be in the same place. But this was like so different from each other.
Yeah, it was very jarring to see.
Yeah, 0 out of 10. Kilroy, what are your thoughts?
2 out of 10.
I don't know. What I ended up getting was a lot different from what I was expecting by the first episode. I thought it was going to be like a fight a week thing, but instead it's just drawn out as long as possible. And like, I don't necessarily have a problem with drawing something out for multiple episodes like that, but there needs to be like something at stake. You need to convey that to the person watching and actually make them feel invested in it. And they didn't really do that. They just established the reasoning for the fight in just like the first half of the first episode or something like that, and then just launched into the fight and just dragged it on.
Yeah.
And just dragged it on as long as possible. So I'd give it like maybe 2 out of 10. I don't know.
That's being too generous.
Aphrodite's titties.
Okay, well.
I mean, it at least had animation. You gotta give it credit for that.
I guess.
I would say it's almost similar to a PowerPoint.
It was. I'd say the animation was pretty mediocre. It wasn't anything too special, nothing too much to say about, but it kind of conveyed as like the emotion that was being portrayed from the manga panel to panel.
Yeah.
Panel to panel, I should say.
Handle.
Yes. No.
I would say so, but
It's nothing really special to say about. Nothing really anything to write home about.
It just makes me think of like an anime from like the early 2000s.
Nah.
No, like I'm like saying like towards like maybe like 2004 or like 2007. Between that time, it was like the animations of like that were really popular then. What was it?
Code Geass.
Yeah, kind of like that type. Well, that wasn't. Is Code Geass really
Actually,
that
Code
long?
Geass.
Or like is that?
Yeah, it was 2007.
Oh my god!
I'm pretty sure either 2006 or 2007. It's pretty old.
Oh my god, I'm old.
But I'd still give Code Geass some credit just because they actually did some mech drawings.
Yeah, and also it was an interesting plot. But yeah, that's how I feel. That's my rating. That's how y'all feel.
2 out of 10. Aphrodite's titties.
That's the only thing. That's the only redeeming factor. I can't believe like we actually pushed ourselves to watch 4 episodes. I would probably never read it or watch it. Like that's how bad like the anime was to me. But
I do remember one thing, even though I didn't watch it up to that point. But like there was a scene like I think it was supposed to be Adam versus Zeus, and what's supposed to be like some grueling 1v1 at the very end, like last man or god standing, that they portray in the manga, like going blow for blow and things like that. They literally did like a panning scene where it was just like they just like trace the manga panels, no motion at all. It's just like stills, and they just like do slide after slide after slide. It's like, okay, now there's like an actual PowerPoint anime. That's where you can actually call it that. It was very disappointing to see that.
yeah, you're expecting like something so much more.
Yeah, I'm expecting like an actual fist fight right at the end, because that's what they do. Like actual anime, like them punching each other, but then they just kind of like just go slide after slide after slide of stills. And it doesn't have that same impact like when I was reading it in the manga.
Yeah. Well.
So 2 out of 10.
Moving
on,
we're going over to Komi Can't Communicate. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. The animation's gorgeous, don't get me wrong.
Well, then again, I only watched the first episode, and that's usually the first episode they put in the actual effort.
Yeah,
It's usually like after the 3rd episode when you start to see like the schedule go down, or whether or not that quality stays the same.
Yeah, like the first episode, I mean, it's still really pretty considering like what it is, you know? And like, obviously they're gonna put similar, pretty close effort into that. But, I don't know, I feel like that was something. We only watched the first episode, by the way. And
yeah, because you wanted to.
Yeah, I wanted to, because it was also like a Netflix, whatever the fuck. Anyways, Komi-san, we only watched the first episode. A little bit of a quick summary of it, because I read the manga, is that Komi is a girl that has really horrible like social anxiety, and she can't really talk. Like physically she can, but because she is so shy and like so socially anxious and doesn't know how to communicate with people, like she just doesn't talk at all. And she meets a guy, and he helps her come out of her shell. And that's really the whole plot. It's 300 chapters.
And counting.
And counting. It's still going. It's ongoing.
Oh, it's 300 chapters? What?
Yeah, and they barely got to their 2nd year.
It's never gonna end, is it?
They're just gonna milk it. It's one of those. But it's like, it's only like, it's weekly, because I think it's like a webcomic. And so, like, they only come out with, like, it has, like, 8 pages. Or, like, a couple pages. Like, it's really, like, sporadic how they make it. But I feel like the anime is, like, really pretty, very gorgeous, like, very smooth. And I'm like, it didn't really need that.
Well, that was just the first episode.
Yeah, but I'm sure, like, even going on, it's still gonna be pretty much like that, but, like, pretty similar. Like, still, like, pretty smooth animation. I mean, I definitely should have watched, like, another episode just to kind of see, like, the transition of the animation style. But it just seemed way too over the top for what it is. Which is so funny, because it's like, this is super over the top, and Way the House Husband, not over the top enough.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, like, they really put in all this effort to show you, like, oh, Komi's really pretty, she's gorgeous, look at her hair, look at each individual, like, strand just move and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, this could have been a PowerPoint. You should have sent
No.
me. You should have, like, sent me this in an email. We didn't need this meeting. That's how it felt to me. I mean, the manga's still pretty good, but oh my god, it really does drag. And, like, so many chapters literally don't matter. Like, so much of it does not matter to the main plot of the story. And it's just kind of, like, there. But I'm just glad that I don't want to spoil it. Because...
Go on, do it.
No, because it's 300 chapters in. If you want to take the time to watch Komi, if you want to take the time to read it, by all means. I won't... Usually this is like a spoiler-heavy show, but I won't spoil this because it's really... If you want to experience it, just experience it. But I'm going to move on from that, and let's talk about Little Witch Academia.
Yeah, that was a show that Netflix licensed.
Mm-hmm.
Did they license it or did they produce it?
I thought they produced it.
I don't think they produced it. I think, like...
I thought they gave, like, money for the budget.
Maybe? I can't say for sure. All I can say is I feel like starting from 2020 was when Netflix was starting to go into more anime, like trying to actually produce and fund some, rather than, I guess, license.
Yeah, well, you could only find... So, Little Witch Academia is, like, about a girl that wants to be a witch, and she finally gets her dream to go to an academy. She is not born, like, as a witch, essentially.
She wants to be Shiny Chariot.
Yeah,
Or like Shiny Chariot.
She wants to be, like, her idol, Shiny Chariot. And she goes to the school to learn about magic. But she can't do magic, pretty much. Like, she kind of can, but she's horrible at it.
Yeah.
And so she, it's like kind of like a slice of life, but, with magic in it. It's cute. I like it a lot. It's very good. I mean, it's made by Trigger, so it's kind of hard not to like it, Because
No, that just makes it even easier.
Yeah, Trigger comes out with a lot of good stuff. So, it's really hard to dislike some of the stuff because they have really dynamic characters, and I really like the main character, Ako. She's really cute. I like her friends. There's really not too much to dislike about it. The animation still is gorgeous because, it's still very, very good.
Yeah.
Because it's Trigger, They love their action scenes. They love, like, their silly scenes. They put so much effort into, like, every scene. Like, you always feel the love in like, anything Trigger makes, and especially, like, with Little Witch Academia, you just feel that love. That effort. But it was originally an OVA on Netflix. I don't think it was actually broadcast. but it was
What, the OVA?
yeah, the original. Because
That should have just been. It was more of like an independent film type of a project.
Yeah, it was put on Netflix originally, and then later on they actually made the series and expanded on it, and it's very good. They'll probably never make a second season.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow up making a second season because she kind of accomplished her goal in there. So there's not really much that they can do. Unless like they want to go like year after year for each season.
Yeah.
Which I don't really see them doing that because like they gotta give her a new goal for like the next year. And I don't really see like what else they could add on to that.
Very true.
I do like one thing is that they actually created unique character designs for all the classmates. And that's kind of the thing that you don't see very often. Especially like in anime, because like they usually use like the copy and paste like the generic classmate. Or they do that like with CG. But they don't really do that. They actually have unique character designs for even just characters that don't even talk or rarely talk. And I've only seen that with shows like from Kyoto Animation, like K-On! Or Hyoka. Like, those shows still take in the same setting as like high school, but like they actually do use unique character designs for every classmate. And that just sounds like needless work, but at the same time that also shows like the amount of effort that they put into the show itself too.
Oh yeah. For sure. Like they
don't really have to do that. They could just like copy and paste or just use CGI to depict everyone else. It's like how you always play like spot the main character, and you can always spot them either having some really weird hairstyle or colored hairstyle, and they're always sitting like next to the window.
Oh yeah, that's true. Always in the back seat.
They always have that same seating order, very outlandish hair color or design or hair design. So it's like spot the main character. It's not that difficult, but here you might actually have some difficulties of actually spotting the main character since they all look unique in and of itself.
Yeah, and Akko especially, she's probably the most toned down of them all because she just has like, you know, dark brown hair and like I think she has red eyes.
Yeah, and like you look at say Diana, she looks like she's the main character.
Yeah, and technically, like, she would be if it wasn't for Akko, but, you know, she's our underdog.
Yeah, we're following the story under Akko's perspective.
Yeah, and Diana, like you mentioned, they all have, like, really interesting character designs. They all have, like, a defining silhouette.
Yeah.
You could definitely, like, make out each character just by their silhouette alone.
Yeah, and just like how they stand, their pose, everything about them.
Yeah, you can just literally see every character, and like they don't even have to speak, but you know the personality type immediately just by how they're posed and standing, and it's, you know, like I said, Trigger really loves to put a lot of love in their characters. And every stroke of their brush, I would say, is just like another way that they're defining that character.
Yeah. It's a good show.
It's a good show. But you're too young to remember.
Yeah, it was only, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It came out in 2017.
The anime show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The TV.
Yeah, the TV show. Killer, what are your thoughts on Little Witch Academia?
It was good. It's basically what I kind of wanted Harry Potter to be as a kid, but then the movies just veered off into bullshit drama and shit like that. So it's nice to see something that actually is mostly
magic.
about
That's magic.
Like, magic shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's really all I have to say about it.
I mean, that's good. That's a
Harry
good
Potter
analysis.
Did start off. Yeah, Harry Potter did start off with like magic shenanigans, and then it just veered off into like this super serious war against dark side and the good side.
Fucking grimdark shit.
Yeah. I think like the one thing I never got from Harry Potter is like, how the hell does everyone just know how to use the killing curse so easily? You think that like with it being like the most forbidden spell that instantly kills, you think that there could be some kind of prerequisite or difficulty in like just casting it, but like you see everyone in like that's on the dark side just like casting it one after another with like no difficulty. But that was just like from the movie in itself. I don't know how it is in the book.
Oh, in the book, yeah, no, it's just as easy.
It's still the same.
There's no.
It doesn't make any sense.
There's no prerequisite or anything. You could accidentally like if you're reading.
Just say the words and then, oh no, I just used it.
Yeah, I just killed someone. Avada Kedavra.
That's so silly.
Yeah.
To make like the most forbidden skill that easily usable. How? Why?
It's a metaphor for gun violence in America.
Damn.
This is America.
J.K. Rowling really smart.
Wow, J.K. Rowling, she's so smart and can't believe it. Fucking turf. Can't believe it. Oh my god.
Moving on from her.
Oh my god.
So yeah, Little Witch Academia. Really good to watch. Expands on the OVA. And it has a little something for everyone. 7 out of 10.
I give it an 8.
Yeah, I'd actually give it an 8. I'd actually give it an 8. I'm just giving it the most average rating, though.
Yeah, I remember people being like upset at the ending, though.
All I remember was that at the very end, Akko learned how to fly on a broom. And then it just cuts off from there.
I was fine with that.
Because like she's just floating there.
I was perfectly fine with that because I was like, she did everything she wanted. She finally got to meet her idol. And she realized, never really meet your heroes. But then, she was able to still save everyone with her own power and what she was able to do. And then she finally befriended Diana, and it was good. I thought it was perfectly fine. The story was done.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think the only issue that I had was like when I was watching it at broadcast release, it felt like the pacing was so slow. Cause like, I've only been recently rewatching it and I kind of realized why I thought that. But like, the main plot of like finding the phrases only starts coming in like, I say 2/3 of the way in for the show. And like, you only touch upon it a little bit like the first 3 episodes, but then you don't hear anything about it until like very far later on. So I think it was a matter of like, the experience watching it on the weekly release versus like just binging it in one go. And it's a very different experience.
Yeah, I binge watched it. So I didn't get that feeling at all.
I did the weekly release, which is why I felt like this is kind of slow watching it. And I was like wondering, like, what's going to happen next? Is the plot going to actually start progressing? But once I rewatched it like in an actual binge fashion, it was a different experience. Like I didn't have that same notion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I binge watched it, so I didn't have that problem. I'm not like you,
Yeah, but you're too low level compared to me.
I think I'm above you.
No.
You don't even like binge watching.
What do you mean?
You were like, oh, I never used to sit down and watch anime. Like, I don't ever sit down and watch like a full season. Me.
Yeah, because I usually watch it weekly.
Yeah, just sit down, watch all 24 episodes.
No.
Literally, like, be so tired at 5 a.m. and you finally watch that last episode.
Alright, how about you binge watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes? All 100 episodes of the OVA.
If I didn't have a job, I would.
I don't think you would actually want to do that.
I don't know if I'd even like it.
I think when I was watching it was like 4 episodes at a time per day.
I don't know.
But that's beyond except moving on.
That actually kind of reminds me of like the one day because I didn't have internet until like 2014.
2.
Right? I was like, how old was I? I was like 18, pretty much. 17, 18. I didn't get internet till then. And then,
you became a weeb.
I was always a weeb.
I
literally rented DVDs still to watch anime because I didn't have internet. I don't want to explain the backstory of why I didn't have internet because we had money, but something with my sister. But anyways, that's not the issue here. But yeah, I remember buying Gantz. And if y'all don't know anything about Gantz, it's super gory, super uncomfortable.
Yes, it is.
Like, super just a really shitty time. And me and my best friend were like, hey, let's watch this. This looks fucked up. And we sat there and watched... we sat there and watched all the 24 episodes of it. Like, from whatever time we bought the DVD to, like, it was like 4 o'clock at night. We were just quietly watching it in my living room because my parents were like, go to bed at like 10 o'clock. And so we were secretly watching it. And I was like, wow, I feel terrible at 5 a.m. physically and mentally. It wasn't really that bad. I was like, whatever. But that doesn't matter anymore because we're going to talk about Dorohedoro.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. Alright, I'm signing off now.
Dorohedoro was good. I liked it. Obviously, I like fucked up shit, so... obviously, it wasn't really that fucked up. It was still a very interesting story. I really liked it. I read the manga, and surprisingly, the manga started in 1999 and ended in around 2018. And it really surprised me that it just finally got, like, greenlit for an anime. After how, like, almost... it was 20 years, pretty much, of the manga being out. Which is not really heard of anymore. Depending on what series or whatever.
I guess I'm trying to think. I feel like there might have been one. I'm drawing a blank. Oh yeah, there's another Pluto coming out. There is that Pluto anime.
Yeah, but Pluto is...
And that series was pretty old.
Pluto is kind of like how it was for Akira, It kind of reminds me of that kind of style where it could have actually been a movie type. Even though Akira the movie trails off from the manga.
Yeah, it really does.
It really does. It's still good, like how they did the story. But, I don't know, it's like one of those, like, sleeper hit shows.
Dorohedoro?
No, Pluto.
Oh, Pluto. I've only ever read one work from that author, and that was 20th Century Boys.
Oh, you didn't read Monster?
No.
That's,
I'll read it eventually.
I think that's what he's really well known for, if I'm not mistaken.
Moving on from that guy.
No, we're not moving on. Shut up!
Oh my god. We're getting sidetracked.
We're not, because this pertains to this, but...
Okay, then.
Yeah, Pluto was a very good manga. And you're right, it is one of those that was, it's super old. It's probably like 30 years old now. Maybe older.
You used to say it was 1999 for the anime, the manga?
For Pluto?
When it started? No, I thought you were talking, I thought we were talking about Dorohedoro.
No, I was talking about Pluto.
Okay.
Pluto is pretty old. I would say almost like about 30 years old. But, it's one of those where it took forever to get an anime greenlit. I honestly thought it was actually going to come out as a movie. But, apparently, they finally agreed upon, like, a certain director that's going to do Pluto. And so that's why it finally got, like, greenlit. Because I think it was, like, the mangaka not wanting to do it.
Yeah, It usually depends. Like when it comes to like the authors of like these types of works, either they're hands off or they're like really hands on, and they will not budge any leeway when it comes to like who they want on the staff and who's working on it and like their involvement in it. That might have been the same case with Dorohedoro as well.
Oh yeah, Hayashida
where the author just would not budge until they got like this specific person to work on it.
I'm not sure, because like knowing how Hayashida Q is, they kind of seem a little hands off on their manga, but I mean, I could also kind of see that they're also very particular about what they would want to, because I mean, their style is extremely particular. Like super strange.
Okay.
But overall, it's very good. I am super excited because even though it's a CG like anime, it's still pretty good for CG. They've gotten a lot better for sure on doing CG, because this is MAPPA.
Yeah.
And so
essentially Madhouse.
Yeah, and they've gotten a lot better about CG. And it's not as awkward and jarring. It's still pretty awkward, but overall the settings are really nice. Like everything's still like, it doesn't take away from the story, like how Berserk was.
Yeah, because they also have weird sound design to go along with it.
True. But
like having Dragon Slayer make like the Team Fortress 2 fry pan sound when you hit something.
That too, yeah. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I hope y'all would read the manga too, because I don't want to spoil anything. And
don't do it.
Even if I did spoil it, no one would understand what the fuck I'm talking about, because it's so fucking weird. I love it, and I don't want to spoil it because it's super good. And
I didn't understand when you were trying to explain Kingdom Hearts to me.
And I will do it again.
No, please spare me that.
Oh, one day I'm gonna make like an actual like episodic series about Kingdom Hearts lore.
I'll play the games one day, because I know that they're pretty good action games.
They are really good action games.
Yeah.
But
I know Kingdom Hearts 2 is really good for an action game.
Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite. Actually, what's really funny, I know this is like sidetracking a little bit more, but I mean, because overall
we're sidetracking a lot.
But Dorohedoro is just good in general. I don't really want to talk too much about it because it's really something that you have to experience, and especially reading the manga, you really have to experience it. It's so interesting and different, and the ending was also kind of shitty, but it was so weird that I was like, you know what, this is fine. This is fine. I accepted it. But
I don't.
But Kingdom Hearts 2, very good. I actually didn't know, because that was actually the first Kingdom Hearts game I played, because I had to borrow games from friends because I was poor. This is when I was younger, so I was very poor. And he's like, well, I have Kingdom Hearts 2 and I have Final Fantasy 10. And I'm like, alright. So I played Kingdom Hearts 2, and I did not know you could change the Keyblades. I just thought it was a charm or whatever. I didn't know what, like, whenever you defeat an area, essentially, you beat an area, and you get a Keyblade at the end. And I'm like, oh, that's a cute charm. And then I never looked into it or anything. And then I was really, really struggling. Like, I was super far into the game. Like, I was really, really struggling fighting a boss. And I was like, fuck. Like, I can't beat this guy. I've leveled Sora up to, like, almost, like, level 80. And it's, like, super hard. And then I finally was, like, scrolling through, like, the Keyblades. And I was like, oh, you can fucking change this? Because I was like, why is there stats on these? What does this mean? And then, like, I selected one, and, like, the Keyblade changed, and I was like, what the fuck? And so I found the one with the best stats. Because I had the stock Keyblade the whole time. And I finally, like, I did the one with the best stats, and I fucking beat the guy first try. with the new Keyblade. And I was like, have I been this stupid for so long?
Yes.
I just wasn't paying attention, apparently. Or because I didn't play the first one, you know? But I mean, I didn't really have to play the first one to understand what happened in the second one, so it didn't really matter. Because they explained everything anyways. So it...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a little something about me. I'm just fucking stupid.
Yeah, you are.
What are y'all thoughts on Dorohedoro?
I don't really like CG, especially in anime. But the few portions of when they actually drew the characters, I did like.
What about you, Kilroy?
Like the CG was jarring at first, but you get used to it. I liked the whole world that it established and everything. It had a good style. I liked the way the conflict kind of evolved from like, oh, these what were they called, like mages or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, it's your first instinct is to go, oh, this is just going to be like a good versus evil type thing, but then they flesh out the mages, and it's sort of just a conflict of what's the term? I don't know.
They're all just
like,
literally chaotic people.
Yeah, they're just kind of using the people in the hole as lab rats rather than just doing it out of like sadism or anything. And then they leave the hole, and they just have their own kind of society, just doing their own thing, and even conflicting with each other.
Sorcerers are called sorcerers.
Sorcerers, yeah.
I thought you loved that series.
Yeah, and it's really interesting kind of seeing like Kaiman and how he changes, because he really hated sorcerers, and then it kind of just develops into like, oh well, you know, he's starting to see like the more of the gray area rather than black and white.
You're not all bad. I like your meat pies.
Yeah.
You are magic boy.
It's like you
Man, wait, that's the scene from Gans.
Oh yeah, that is from Gans. Oh, we come.
You are why boy.
We've come full circle. But it's really, I just really enjoy it, and especially like it does become so much more fleshed out later on in the manga. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like what they do. I'm concerned about their second season, like when they're ever gonna announce that.
Never.
I guess not, because it's been like 2 years already, I think. A year?
Just a year.
They usually at least like try to announce something or tease something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, Mappa has like a bunch of projects.
That's true. That is very true.
They're literally taking in they've literally taken so many projects, big projects too. I'm not surprised that they haven't released it.
Oh yeah, because I think right now they're
like,
really focused on.
Right now they're doing the final season of Attack on Titans.
Yeah, Attack on Titan. Then Chainsaw Man's coming out.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man. Then there's a movie for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Didn't Attack on Titan have like a really long hiatus too? The anime.
Yeah. Not.
I don't think
really.
so. No.
Like, I don't know, because it took forever for the second season to come out, and then the third season just like.
I feel like they were kind of yearly with each season.
Yeah.
I thought there was like a 5-year gap between one of them.
Oh, okay. So like the first season and the second season, there was like a 4-year gap.
Yeah.
That's probably
it was super hyped up.
But then after that, it was like kind of a yearly release with each season.
Okay.
Yeah, they like the second season was super hyped up. Like I remember it, like because like even like family members that have really never watched anime, they were like, "Oh, Attack on Titan season 2 is coming out," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then it came out, and then all of a sudden they just started shitting out the rest of the other seasons.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever.
It might have just been the case like the first season was caught up to the manga very quickly that they had to let the manga move the story along before they started adapting more.
Yeah, especially since it's like a monthly release too. It's kind of hard because
if I remember from like the first season, they were already really close to like where the manga already was.
Yeah,
because like the first episode when they did the training arc, I think was at the time 10 chapters away from the current chapters for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really close.
Yeah, I don't blame them because once they saw like the hype that Attack on Titan had, I'm sure they were like, oh, we have to wait and actually properly adapt this series.
Mm-hmm. Attack on Titan like changed a lot of things.
Yeah, it did. More fucked up shit was actually able to come out because of it.
Well, I think it was more that it just normalized anime.
No,
because even normies were watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah, like my family members.
Yeah, I was like, it changed a lot of things just because it normalized weebs.
Very true, very true.
Okay, now looking at when Adoro came out, it is actually 2 years now. It aired like at the winter 2020.
I told you.
So yeah, it was 2 years.
I told you. So.
Yeah, but you didn't have conviction.
But I'm just worried. I want it to come out.
It's not gonna happen. Mappa has too much on their plate.
It's gonna be like, it's probably gonna be over in like 4 seasons.
Isn't there also supposed to be a Yuri on the Ice movie too
Yes,
from Mappa?
yes, that's coming out too. Yuri on Ice.
Yeah. There's Yuri on Ice, there's Attack on Titan final season. I think there was also supposed to be a movie for Zombieland Saga. They got a ton of shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see.
And Dorohedoro is probably on like the very bottom of the list, unless like they get a new studio to do the adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like, I think what it looks like is that Mappa is just going for the series that sell the most. Which, it doesn't surprise me which ones they're doing right now.
Yeah, Dorohedoro is definitely...
Attack on Titans.
Dorohedoro, even though it's very, it was pretty popular, it still kind of is, like, it's pretty niche crowd.
Yeah.
But it was still very popular, very, like, streamed a lot. And I think it's also because, like, Netflix helped out with that a lot, too.
Yeah.
But now, I guess we come to Netflix's, like, golden child. Their new golden child, I would say. Because Attack on Titan...
Yeah, Bobo's.
Yeah. No, Bobo.
Bobo's... Yeah, Bobo.
Their new golden child. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And let me say, I only saw 3 episodes. I actually don't know too much about this part of JoJo's. But...
I do.
I know you do. But the anime, I can already tell you, they put their money in this for sure. The animation style is very clean. Like, it's just...
They actually, and then went back to the CG openings, which I actually liked better than the drawn openings in this case.
Yeah, the CG openings.
It just really fits the style for stands.
It also really fits just like Araki style in general, just because like he really likes. You can tell like his art. He really tries like more of a 3D effect, and when you apply like CG, like the lines just work really well. I'm looking at it from an artistic standpoint.
I think, the one thing that the previous JoJo animes just didn't get right is like those poses that Araki always does with the characters. They usually just... There's always like sometimes where they just feel off when it comes to like the drawings, whereas this one they actually like get it right from what the manga actually draws.
And I think it's mostly because like they have a higher budget and they're able to have a little bit more liberties. Because it's still having like an actual TV release, but you know, with Netflix, like they were able to really just kind of take their time. And because, I mean, they have to, like, take their time, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it hasn't really...
It's their new golden child.
Yeah, it hasn't really been that long since they announced Part 6 and Golden Wind ended. Like, it's been, like, what, a year already? 2 years?
2 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3. Let me just double check when Golden Wind ended. It ended summer 2019. So yeah, just like 2.5 years in.
But, you know, like, that production company, it's like David Pro, right?
Yeah. They're literally the JoJo's studio now.
Have they actually even made anything else? I thought the studio was specifically made just for JoJo's.
They made several things before JoJo's. They did Fire Force.
Oh, okay.
For one.
That was them?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't think that they would dabble their little hands in that. But, I mean, also...
And Cells at Work.
Okubo Sensei, I mean, his stuff is really cool. Like, his art style. He wrote shitty endings for Soul Eater, but... I like his style.
Yeah.
I love his art style a lot.
Fire Force and Cells at Work are the only ones I can remember that they did while they are doing JoJo's. I think the only thing that I do remember them doing before JoJo's was Bento.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Okay. Well, the story for that is literally, you go to like some supermarket, you find out that they're having a sale for the lunch boxes, and people just literally fight each other to the death for them. And that's pretty much the premise of it. It's a good show, though. I thought it was
I'd watch
fun.
it, yeah. Just based on that, it sounds good.
Yeah. It's like, you see like the old market ladies just putting all the stickers like saying half off, and then everybody's just like waiting for the market lady to go back, and then they start brawling for the lunch boxes.
I would have to watch that just to kind of see that. But I mean, you know, David Pro loves to put their heart and soul into their JoJo series, so I mean,
yeah, because that's what they're known for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's their fucking cash cow. It's their bread and butter.
I didn't know this. They're gonna be doing the new season or the new version of Urusei Yatsura. I didn't know that.
Oh, they're gonna do Urusei Yatsura?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, well, I'm sure that's gonna be a bread and butter too.
Looks like they got something else other than JoJo's now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they still have Part 7 and Part 8 just finished recently.
Yeah, I don't really care too much about Part 8 because that ending was a mess. But Part 7, top part.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that goes. But anyways, if you don't know the plot of Stone Ocean, you must start from the beginning. Part 1.
Part 3. Okay, Part 1 actually.
Technically, you could just watch Part 3 and go up, but I mean, I know that's blasphemy to say that.
Yeah, you're supposed to start with Part 4, then Part 5, then go back to Part 1, then Part 3, then Part 2.
I like Part 2. I like Battle Tendencies.
Yeah, Battle Tendency was good too.
But, I mean, it's kind of difficult to explain, like, the plot of Stone Ocean. So it's kind of like, you kind of have to already...
You gotta watch it. I think the biggest thing with this part is that this one has, like, the most body horror, in my opinion, in all of the JoJo series. So I'm gonna be wondering whether they're gonna be censoring some of the stuff, or they're actually going to just, like, actually air it uncensored on Netflix.
Oh yeah, they're gonna air it uncensored on Netflix. They can do that for sure. But definitely for TV release, when they have that, they're gonna censor a whole ton of stuff.
Everybody's gonna be black bars.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, especially like, I mean, this is kind of like in the first couple episodes, so it's not really too much of a spoiler, but essentially the plot is Jolene, who is a daughter of Jotaro, who is pretty much the main character in Part 3 of the series, she is placed in jail because
she was set up.
She was essentially set up for vehicular manslaughter.
Sad. Hate it when it happens, don't you?
Oh yeah, I hate it when that happens. Oof. But essentially, so she goes to jail and she develops a stand because there's that stone mask. It's
the arrow.
Oh, it's the arrow. That's right. It's just kind of it's a mess, that part. But
I do say that the best part of that the first few episodes was that blind guy's kick of an ass.
Yeah.
Woo! It was huge.
I don't even.
And they went with that uncensored too. Damn, Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like they're definitely gonna have to censor like when she hits that person or when Romeo hits that person.
Oh, there are worse things that they're gonna need to censor.
Oh yeah, I mean it's gonna get worse. I mean I'm just saying like that's one of the defining ones because like we also only did the rule of 3 of this episode or this series. Just only.
Oh well, I watched like the whatever was out available.
Yeah, but me and Kilroy, we only watched 3 episodes so far. I do want to watch Stone Ocean. I had no interest in Golden Wind.
Why? Aren't you a Fujo? That's the prime Fujo part. I
don't have interest in it. And also, even though as a Fujo, and I'm not, I dabble, but I am not. None of the characters are cute. I like meat on my bones. Yeah.
So you like that fat ass? So you just
yes, I love that fat ass. Woo! Woo!
Yeah, he did have a kick of an ass. That's for sure.
Definitely did. But I'll let you talk about it a little bit more because I know that since we only saw the 3 episodes, like not too much was explained.
Okay, so outside of that, I only have one issue with Stone Ocean, and that was the casting for Poochie, who's going to be essentially the main bad guy for this entire part. He's the priest, and he's Italian, but for some reason he's very dark skinned. Like I didn't realize that he was Italian because of that, because I thought he was actually just black.
I mean, his name is Poochie.
But
that's Italian.
Yeah, well, you think I know Italians?
Maybe you should diversify yourself. Get more like
Mario and Luigi. That's all the Italian names I know.
Oh my god,
that's all you need, really.
No, pizza, linguine. Yeah. There's a little bit more.
Fazoli's, spaghetti, fettuccine. Anyway. I really did not like the casting for the Japanese voice casting for Poochie, just because they changed it from their usual. Okay, so they changed it twice. From the first one, it was Sho Hayami for the fighting game, and then they changed it to be Nakato Joji for the second fighting game. And both choices are decent picks. They have like the deep voice, like they both have previously played as like a priest type character. But this casting is kind of weird because they casted him under Tomokazu Seki, who usually plays like hot-blooded characters. And I don't really get that feeling when I hear Poochie at all. It just doesn't fit at all.
Kilroy,
and I really do not like it.
Kilroy, get a load of this fucking weeb right here. He's like, the voice actors. He's like, no, the voice don't fit right because it should have been Nakamura-san.
Man.
But I mean, you have a valid point though. I mean, I could definitely understand that, especially when you're used to hearing like a certain like Seiyu just be that like hot-blooded character because they have like a particular tone to them. That's why they are like typecast to play those type of characters. But then
I don't know.
kind of going.
I can just throw out some. I can throw out some characters, and you can kind of get like why I think they're hot blooded. Gilgamesh from the Fate series. That's Seki. And he's the hot blooded and very egotistical, and that doesn't really fit like the priest tone. He's also. Did you ever watch Initial D?
Yes.
He's also the blonde guy that is the younger Keisuke, I think his name. The one that does the uphill races.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he also voices him. So like, I already have an image of like how this guy usually voices his characters as like the hot-blooded kind of like outlawish character, and then like here he is playing like this role that's completely out of the left field for him.
I think you're being too critical of him. I have to hear it actually.
If you listen to it, it's just like and then you listen to like how the others played it, it feels wrong.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
You'll probably get used to it though.
I don't think I will.
Well, what is nice though about some of the voice acting and one of the seiyus is the girl that plays Jolene. I think that backstory is actually really cute. How she was the seiyu for Jolene, she was she was super obsessed with JoJo's, and it had always been her dream to like just be a part of JoJo's universe in general, just like be a part of the.
Yeah, I think she wanted to be Foo Fighters.
Yeah, but she got cast as the main role as Jolene, so.
She does a pretty good job as
I
her.
really like her voice as Jolene. I think it's a really good fit.
It's fitting.
Yeah, very fitting.
Yeah.
And, like, she's also, like, she's super buff, too.
Oh, yeah, she was also... I think she also played that one character from... that was supposed to be about getting fit. I forgot what it was called.
There's several.
That was Dumbbell something.
Oh, yeah, the blonde girl?
Yeah, the one that looks like a gal.
Yeah, she is a gal.
Yeah. She played her.
I don't like that series.
Okay, fine.
But I could definitely see her voicing that character, too. That's a good fit for her as well, just, like, knowing from her voice. She's very good, and...
And she's in Pretty Cure, too.
If this was a visual medium, if like, you could see my face right now... Just like
the disappointment.
I'm just shaking my head. But I mean, Stone Ocean, they know where to put their money where their mouth is, and it's gonna be really interesting. I'm really excited to see like where it goes. I need to actually go back to watching it.
Yeah, go watch it right now.
Yeah, right now as we're recording.
Yeah.
Do a live commentary, and it's just me being like, huh!
That's one kick of an ass. I don't think we ever finished that fight.
No, we didn't.
We never finished that fight.
Yeah. Kilroy, what are your thoughts? You can definitely tell that me and Kay like it, you know? But Kilroy, what are your thoughts?
After years of seeing JoJo fans hype the series up, it did not live up to expectations. Or it wasn't really my thing, I should say.
True.
But that's also like, because you came from like literally knowing pretty much nothing about JoJo's, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden going to part 6, I can understand it being like a little like, what the fuck is this shit, you know?
I guess, yeah. I mean, story-wise, there's nothing I was clueless about. It's kind of its own storyline. It's just I didn't really like the style of it. Like, I like ridiculous shit that's kind of stupid, but it's not exactly the way I like it here.
I think it's also like I mentioned it before, like, because we were talking about like our thoughts on it after we finished like watching the episodes, and I mentioned I was like, it's mostly because you get eased into it from like the beginning.
Yeah.
And it does slowly ramp up and become more ridiculous until you get to part 3, essentially. Even though, like, in part 2, it was Johnny, right? Joseph. Johnny was first one.
Jonathan was the first one. Johnny's the 7th.
Johnny's 7th. They're all the same. They're all JoJo.
They're all JoJo.
But pretty much in part 2, like, even though he was like a ridiculous character, it was still pretty tame for an action, like, you know, a shonen, like, anime. And then part 3 is where it goes, like, what the fuck is Araki smoking type?
Really? For you?
It, like, seeing from part 2 to part 3, me, I like ridiculous shit too, you know? But, like, seeing the transition from, like, especially from, like, if you look at even part 1 to part 3, it is, like, completely different.
How so?
Well, with the introduction of stands, but also, it's so much more, like, I'm trying to think of the word. It's like a story is being told to someone, and they, like, romanticize it. And make it much more bombastic and dramatic. That's what it felt like to me for part 3. And part 1 is just like a basic narrative of like revenge type. It you know, it's just a standard story.
Yeah.
But like part 3 just felt like, you know, someone is trying to tell me a story of like ages past, and it just becomes like this huge thing. It's a like really like intense road trip.
I mean,
like anime.
Yeah, part 3 is also a road trip too.
That's what I'm saying. Part 3 is like an intense road trip.
Oh, I thought you were talking about for part 1.
No, I transitioned from part 1 to part 3.
You make no sense.
You make no sense. You ain't paying attention.
No, I'm paying attention. You just suck.
You're just not paying attention. And also probably my mic's just not picking me up sometimes. From, like, for you listening. Because my mic's picking up literally everything on our recording.
I think everything was pretty subdued for JoJo's. At least when it came to, like, abilities. And then it slowly started veering off strangely in part 4. And then
part 4 was cool. I liked part 4.
Yeah, part 4, like, the powers were still... They were kind of veering off in, like, this strange world. But they were still somewhat grounded. Part 5 was, like, when they started going way off. And part 6 and from then on was just like, what the fuck is he thinking with these abilities?
Yeah, how does King Crimson work? Can you explain that to me?
If you cut out like 10 seconds of our voice clips, yeah, sure. Just cut out the 10-second clip of when I actually explain it, and that's King Crimson. There, I explained it.
Yeah, but how do we know that it happens?
It just works.
But how do we know that that was something that happened?
It just works. Don't ask me.
I do love that video of the guy just like freaking out. It just fucking works!
Yeah. It just works, okay? Don't worry about it. You'll see even more dumber stuff later on. Like, I think there was like some person's stand that utilized some room's feng shui for like good luck. Or some stupid stuff like that. It is just weird. It just gets very outlandish later on. Yeah. It just gets really outlandish later on.
Do you have good feng shui in your apartment?
You see my apartment.
You have nothing in your apartment. So I'm assuming this is probably just good feng shui. You sleep like on a cardboard and like a pillow that you finally bought for yourself recently.
Yes, that's exactly how I live.
But, I mean, yeah, we lost track of what I was saying earlier, but it eases you in.
Yeah, Stone Ocean, it's looking to be a lot better than the previous JoJo's.
For sure. I know that, wasn't there like a lot of hate towards part 6 though?
Not to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't matter then. But I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. For me, at least. I know, Kilroy, that you don't really care.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be continuing watching it. I don't think.
I guess I can think of one thing as to why it got hated was some death scene, but aside from that, no.
Yeah, there's some pretty
big death scenes there. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I don't really want to spoil too much, because, I mean, I recommend just watching the whole JoJo series. It took forever watching part 4, but I was actually doing the whole, watching the weekly releases, so it did feel way longer. But I'm sure if you binge watch it, it's, like, really fun.
Yeah, it happens a lot. It's a very different experience when you watch something weekly versus something in like a binge watch.
Yeah. But, I mean, I give... Wait, Dorohedoro, I don't think we gave a rating. Or
0 out of 10.
I thought we gave it an 8.
Oh yeah, we gave it an 8.
No, I thought that was Low Witch
That was
Academia.
Little Witch Academia, yeah.
I thought it was both.
Okay, sure. We'll give it both.
Yeah, they're both an 8 now. Stone Ocean.
We also give it an 8.
I give it a 7.
I give it an 8.
I'd give it a 6 probably.
I mean, I still very much enjoy it, you know, and it's looking really promising, but...
Come on, you won't give it an extra point for that kick of an ass?
I'm not gonna give it that extra point. I already gave the extra...
Why is everyone so mean to me? I love that image.
I already gave the extra point to Aphrodite's titties. Like, I can't give out any more. That was 2 extra points, by the way. I wanted it to be a 0, but that, because of each titty, you know.
Yeah, they were pretty big.
But Stone Ocean, I would definitely say it's a 7. Because even though I enjoyed it, JoJo still isn't really too much of my cup of tea, actually.
True.
I enjoy the series and everything, but I'm not, like, overly obsessed with it, or, like, it doesn't really keep me too much on the edge of my seat, and maybe that's because, like, I have really particular tastes. And Araki...
Fujo taste.
Not Fujo taste. Like, Araki, like, just doesn't fulfill it, you know? It's like, I'll go here every once in a while.
Yeah, because Araki doesn't really think about his stuff. It's like a spur of the moment whenever he does, like, a chapter.
Yeah. And you can really feel that a lot.
Yeah, you definitely felt that in part 3 when Star Platinum just gets a new ability all of a sudden.
Yeah.
With no explanation, and he just never does it again.
Yeah, never. Ugh. No. Yes. But that's how I feel about it. I guess, you know, in regards to, like, what Netflix has put out on their platform and everything like that, I mean, I feel like there's still quite a bit of variety, some really good variety in here. And the ones that we mentioned, you know, there's some good and there's some bad, and it's...
hit or miss.
Yeah, definitely a lot of hit or miss. When they hit, they hit. But when they miss, oh my god, they fucking miss.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They miss terribly. But overall, they're still just, like, really good... There's really good variety in there. And you can find pretty much whatever you want, except for the really weird shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, like, safe, you know. And you kind of get a little, like, you dip your toe in the weird stuff a little bit, you know? Like, the more interesting things. But overall, I mean, Netflix could do a little better.
They got money. Put a little investment
They
in
got
there.
a little money, you know? They got a little money, but it's also like they're probably more focused on wanting to put their money in their live action like TV shows and stuff like that.
More than likely.
So I also don't blame them for that because like animation is tedious. It's really difficult, but you know, when you actually put in the effort, there's a big payoff on it.
Yeah.
And you see it, you know, and you get people talking about it.
Yeah, like Arcane.
Oh yeah, Arcane's gorgeous. I would like to one day really talk about that at some point.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm boycotting anything related to Riot Games for actual reasons.
I mean, I don't blame you. I fucking hate Riot Games. I hate League of Legends. I absolutely cannot stand it. But Arcane was good. And if I like just try to like not look at the League of Legends logo and forget it, I'm like, this is a good show. I just have to be reminded constantly that it's a League of Legends show.
Yeah.
And I just don't want that. Also, The Witcher came out too, like season 2, that came out. Who knows how that went?
Why don't you go watch it then?
I'm scared because like I really enjoyed season 1, but I'm so scared to watch season 2 because I'm like worried that it's really gonna disappoint me.
Good. It should disappoint you. You need to be disappointed more.
I'm always disappointed. That's why I'm so scared when I read like animes or read mangas because I'm like, I know the ending's just gonna disappoint me.
Nah. Sometimes that ending just hits.
Well, there's a lot of misses. But when it hits, it fucking hits.
It pays off.
It has a payoff. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed what we were talking about here today, because I think we went pretty deep in some of the stuff that we talked about. I know it's like little bits of here and there, but there is a lot of good anime out there, and I highly recommend quite a bit of them. You should definitely watch Dorohedoro.
No.
You should watch Stone Ocean. It might be a little overwhelming if you haven't seen the other parts, but I mean, just watch part 3 and you'll know what's happening in Stone Ocean, pretty much. Even though it's technically like its own narrative, but then you get, you know, more context of it. But that's good. You can watch Komi-san for some generic romance. That's fine.
Rom-com.
It's a rom-com. You get a non-binary character if that's what you're into.
No.
I mean, I enjoyed that. Like, they're cool. Oh,
I don't think they're cool. I never even read it.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I felt that killing energy, but I ignored it.
I'm literally gonna cut out everything you said. But, you know, we have all these recommendations, and I hope y'all enjoy them. So, we're ending it here. Follow us on our Twitter on In Medias Res Talk. We're there. You know, we're hanging out. Tweet at us. You can head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/IMRTalkPodcast. If you want to support us there, we'd appreciate it. You don't have to, but it'd be cool. And hope you enjoy going down the anime rabbit hole, binge watch everything, disappoint your parents, never come out of your hole, just like Kilroy. Live in your room forever.